Now, the clothing and textile industry was hard hit over time due to imports and job losses, with the factories closing down. While Trade Minister Ebrahim Patel briefed the media earlier, our reporter Vanessa Poonah is there and we cross now live to her. Vanessa, thank you so much for your time. Of course, we did see how this industry was hard hit, particularly during a COVID time as well. Just talk to us about some of the things then that the minister drew out in terms of this particular industry.
Yes, good afternoon to you. And an industry not hard hit, but according to the minister himself, an industry decimated over time. Of course, you've mentioned COVID-19, but even prior to that, with the emergence of China as a global player in the textile industry sector, of course, we do know that hundreds and thousands of jobs were lost in clothing and textiles in South Africa. But over the past few years, specifically over the past 5 years, according to various sectors of society, labour, as well as business, those in the industry, manufacturing, and the minister himself, progress, and indeed much needed progress, has been made in terms of turning the situation around. I'm joined now by Minister Ebrahim Patel. Minister, good afternoon to you. You were talking about 15,000 jobs lost in this industry, in the years preceding COVID-19. And of course, you're talking about an industry today which employs over 530,000 people. The key points of the master plan, what exactly does it entail, and how do you measure its success over the past 5 years?
Well, let me start by saying that I'm standing here on a factory floor. This factory itself employs 1,500 workers. Just 3 years ago, it had less than 750 workers. So we've seen a doubling of employment with large numbers of additional jobs created. And it's part of a master plan that has created a partnership between retailers, manufacturers, the trade unions and workers, and government itself. And over this period, we've seen a 20,000 rise in the number of jobs created in the sector as a whole. But we've also been able to deal with the challenges of China. And when China entered the global trading system, it brought enormous quantities of clothing and electronic goods. And South African industry had to reimagine itself and reinvent itself. And so the only way to do it was to sit down with everybody in partnership. And the company here invested sums of money to improve the technology and the skills of workers. We as government supported it with a policy framework that provided some protection for local industry, but at the same time also helped companies to modernize, to find the resources to increase the competitiveness of South African industry.
Minister, very briefly, a host of players here, from labour, organised labour to SARS, and we just heard from the SARS representative the gains made in terms of clamping down on illegal imports and people undervaluing imports. Explain to us what impact this has on the industry and how we are working as South Africa to recover this.
Illegal imports, where companies bring products in and they basically cheat on the true price of the garment that is imported, has destroyed enormous numbers of jobs. Tens of thousands of jobs a year got lost in the past. We've been working with the South African Revenue Service, but also with the business community to deal with this. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've made very significant progress. We now have a reduction in the volume of imports coming from other parts of the world, but perhaps as importantly, the declared value of the imported goods have also gone up. In other words, we're catching people that are cheating, that are bringing products in without paying the duties. What that means for South Africa is more jobs, more local opportunity, more taxes that are generated that can pay for healthcare and education. All of this is a good thing. It also allows South African business people to thrive, to prosper, for new factories to be built. And that is really what the master plan has at its heart.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. Of course, the Minister Ebrahim Patel just giving us an overview of today's visit about various sectors in the clothing, textile, leather, footwear industries to a factory here in Epping in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, and then just talking about the progress made over the past 5 years, but also looking towards the future of the industry, hoping to grow those numbers of people employed in the sector by leaps and bounds in the coming years. Of course, a sector decimated by various factors now in South Africa, according according to the Minister, as well as the various role players here, coming up to par, and certainly an industry where job creation is also a key factor.